Welcome to 101 Awakening. This is your birth certificate rights. This is now the continuation of your trust funds. Please make sure to watch the previous post so you can understand what I'm about to show you. So remember, your government of Canada is taking care of your trust fund while you're under the age of 0-18. At the rightful age of 19, you should be able to take over the management of your own trust funds. The trust funds generated from your birth certificate form and the revenues created from all these industries that your government is managing for you. Managing for you while you are under the age of 18. But now you are of legal age, 19 years old, and you now want to take over your trust funds and the management of all the benefits and the revenues generated from your different industries. But your government is refusing to give you all the monies that you deserve. And why is that? Let's just say at the beginning, there's only a person that manages all these trust funds. Just like the industries that keep growing, it's now unmanageable for one person to manage all these. So now your government hired more people to manage all these industries. Your corporation will now have a president, a vice president, a management, and workers. The president and the vice president will manage all the main industries, while the management will manage all the sub-industries, and the worker bees will manage all the sub-industries of trades. Their knowledge will be compartmentalized. In other words, their knowledge will be limited based on their performance and management levels. Let's call it the high, medium law of knowledge. The president and the VP will have all the knowledge of the working of the industry. The higher management will only teach the lower management how to take care of the whole business. And management will only tell the people, the worker bees, what they need to know in order to operate all these sub-industries of trades. And remember what I said about Earth. It's good versus evil, left and right. Earth is always creating division inside of you. Division, division, division. When in reality, you should learn the whole truth as a whole. So at the beginning, the intent was good, to give you your trust fund when you turn 19 years of age, the right age for you to manage your own trust funds. But the corporation got so big with all these industries and all the monies that they are managing, like any human being with a lot of money, they got greedy. So your government figured out a plan. How can we take this trust fund from this kid before he turns the right age to take on his own inheritance? So the president and CEOs got together to figure out what makes a child click. So your government hired a lot of people to study about children's, their activities, their life, or what makes a kid a kid. When this group of people completed their study on a child's behavior, they figured out that the kid has a lot of energy in them. So now, based on that study, your government will now hire a bunch of scientists to figure out how they can downgrade your energy. So now, the scientists will revisit each industry and figure out if the industry of service is generating products for consumption based on high energy or low energy. If an industry is creating high energy service, then they have to figure out how they can create a byproduct of the industry as a low energy provider for your body to consume. In order for a sub-industry to operate within the main industry, they now have to follow the formula that the scientist gives to them. The sub-industry will now test those formulas to the sub-industries of trades. Therefore, they will monitor the worker bees and their health. Based on the worker bees' performance, they will figure out whether the worker bees are dying based on the formula that they are now giving you. Remember, the goal of your government is now to try and kill you so they can take your trust fund away from you or your parents. Remember on my previous post, the president or the main industry are the controller of the process. The sub or the management are the administrators of the process. In other words, the puppets of the process. And you are the worker bees or the testers of the process. Remember, you are all the shareholders of these companies, but your government turned you against each other to kill one another. Depending on the type of person you are, you can either go with the process that the government asks you to do, or you can back away and leave that process behind. Remember, you always have a choice to be good or to become evil of the processes in this planet Earth. So now the scientists created a lot of formulas of chemicals and byproducts to be put into any of these industries of trade. A formula that will now be consumed by these worker bees. It's a formula of processes to disrupt your mind and your body, physically, mentally, and emotionally. They will use any of this industry to create havoc in your mind and body. Remember, the goal is to kill you before you can take your trust fund back from the government. If the upper management reach their goals to suppress your energies, then they get a bonus from your government. The bonuses are not passed to the worker bees unless you also help their goals. And how do you downgrade a person's energy? By inserting chemicals and creating byproducts of different industries that are full of chemicals. And how do you downgrade a child's energy? By stealing them, by hurting them and giving them a lot of pain, by molesting or raping them, by trading them or starving them, or slaving them and eventually killing them. And who did the government hire to do all these nasty things to the children? The parents, the teachers, the doctors and nurses, the lawyers, the judges, the bylaws industries, the social services, the politicians, the traffickers, the churches, and so many more. And where do people's energy get downgraded from? It can be from your own community, your own city or state, inside your country or outside your country, inside your home or outside your home. And why is this happening to people? It's not just to people, it's happening to all the creatures of this planet. Because if your energy is down, remember, if your energy is down, more likely you will get sick. And if you get sick, then you will die, which will allow your government or your trustor to take over your trust fund, the trust fund that you earned over your lifetime on Earth. Because you have so many big and small industries all over Canada, because you as a child have no clue what your government is managing for you, you have no clue how much you are earning. You have no clue what they are all embezzling from you. And now let me take you to part 3 of your trust fund, how you will now hire your own personal people to find where your money went, and how you will put the government's affairs in order, not just for yourself, but for all the shareholders of the company that you all owned. Because not only does this apply to Canada, it applies to all the countries of the world. This process is for every living soul on this planet Earth.